abolitionist and former runaway slave Frederick Douglass once said that education makes a man unfit to be a slave. And in our nation, even though the rates of dropout from high school have declined markedly over the past 60 years, our nation's public schools still have many problems to overcome. Approximately 50% of public schools are underperforming. Approximately 50% of our nation's students in public schools cannot read, write, or perform arithmetic at grade level. And approximately 50% of our nation's college students fail to graduate from college in under 6 years. Yet since the 1990s, one innovation in public education that has developed and evolved has been public charter schools, which in some communities, like Arlington, Virginia, face fierce opposition. One of the loudest objections to public charter schools is a deeply rooted concern about the ability of those schools to expel students and cherry-pick only the best. But even traditional public schools have the power to suspend students up to a full year. Yes, every year, about 1% of the entire public school population in Arlington is either given a short suspension of 1 to 14 days or a full suspension from 15 days to a full year, 365 days. That is effectively an expulsion. And particularly in the matter of color, of those students being suspended for periods up to a year, the population most adversely affected are children of color in Arlington. And in Arlington, in the 2017 Public School Board race, Monique O'Grady, an Arlington parent of children of color who attended Arlington County Public Schools and served on volunteer committees, is not saying one word about it. Maybe the E in ethnicity is silent here. But the glaring reality that is depicted in the data and graphs of the Arlington County Public Schools is that even though only 46% of the public school system is white, African American and Hispanic or Latino children are the children who are getting into trouble the most and being suspended from school. These are the same children of color most adversely affected by the achievement gap as measured by state-administered standardized tests and the College Board. These are the same children of color who are least likely to graduate from an Arlington public school, while white students in public schools are being suspended at percentages far less than their proportional representation in our public school classrooms. And Monique O'Grady may be shaking things up, but she is not saying one word about this. She wants to talk about boundaries and broken limits in community schools where diversity is our strength, while kids of color are graduating to a limited degree. Maybe the E in ethnicity is silent here. The glaring reality painted by the data available from the Arlington County Public Schools is that all but our middle schools, where children are reporting the highest degree of satisfaction that their teachers and schools appreciate their culture and language, punishable incidents are on the rise over the past school year. The glaring reality painted by the data available from the Arlington County Public Schools is that of those reported incidents, while Hispanic or Latino students far outpace their African American classmates, African American children are getting into the greatest amount of trouble, outpacing their fellow brown brothers and sisters who make up almost twice as much as the total population as they do. Yet a Hispanic or Latino student who statistically will perform better on standardized tests than an African American student in Arlington, and who is far more likely to receive an advanced diploma, is far less likely to graduate from an Arlington County public school. While the chance of graduation for a black child moving from D.C. to Arlington rises by 20 points, a Latino or Hispanic child will only raise his or her chances by approximately 2 points, a factor of 10. And Monique O'Grady may be promoting the idea that diversity is our strength with her alternative website written in the Spanish language and talking vaguely about how we must engender in children a love for learning. The lessons here regarding children of color, our children of color, are not being discussed. Not one word. Maybe the E in ethnicity is silent here. But Monique O'Grady is not alone in her silence. The superintendent of the Arlington County Public Schools has banned Mike Webb from talking with principals in our public schools. He has failed to abide by the Freedom of Information Act, denying Mike Webb access to pertinent data regarding children of color in our Arlington public schools, most recently with regard to the incidents for which children of color are being suspended. And Linda Erdos, his assistant superintendent, has told Mike Webb that there is no manila folder marked in any filing cabinet in any Arlington County public school that lists the reasons why children of color are being suspended or getting into trouble, even though that information is provided yearly to the State Board of Education in Richmond. Maybe the E in ethnicity is silent here. If Arlington County Democrats don't want to talk about the achievement gap, don't want to provide information regarding children of color in our public schools, won't consider proposals to address the achievement gap that Mike Webb has presented to the school board as a candidate, and do not want to even entertain the idea of experimenting with public charter schools that have experienced some success in inner city public schools facing far more challenges than in suburban Arlington, who is looking out for the little guy this year? It just might be the one who did not vote for Hillary Clinton last November. Maybe this year might be a good time to consider the other options at the voting place, if only for our kids in our schools. You're a Democrat, right? Whatever happened to majority rule? Why have the right to vote if you don't have the options of choice? My name is Major Mike Webb, and I earned my majority as an Army Ranger, where Rangers lead the way. One nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Just imagine that. Honest. This advertisement was authorized by Mike Webb. Honest. Honest.